Hello there, glad to have you join us on our comprehensive news bulletin. I am Dominic Agbe. First, the highlights. President Tinubu approves 3.6 billion naira ITF scheme for tailors, targets 200,000 artisans. Governor Abiodun inaugurates 6 new permanent secretaries into Ogun State Civil Service. Senate approves 50 million naira for families of security personnel, teachers killed in Oyo rescue operation. And on the foreign scene, Sierra Leone drops treason charges against ex-president Koroma.
And also on the news tonight, Nigerians' inflation eases to 15.9% in June, despite rising food prices. I bring you details of this and more stories on the business segment of the news. I am Opeyemi Adeomi. Don't go away.
Still on the news tonight, Premier League champions Arsenal taking the final upset of forward Julian Alvarez. I'll be back with these details of these stories and others on sports segment of the news. I am Sheyalo. Don't go away.
We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. You can watch us live on Facebook at Ogun TV and Ogun State Television, YouTube at OGTV Abeokuta, and on OGTV website www.ogtv.com.ng/live. For the latest news and reports, check us on this platform, X at Ogun TV, Instagram at Ogun State Television, or download OGTV app on Apple Store and Google Play Store. And now to the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has approved 3.6 billion naira for the Industrial Training Fund, ITF Skill Up Artisans Super Further Training Program aimed at supporting tailors and strengthening Nigeria's informal sector. The federal government is targeting about 200,000 artisans for the 2026 edition of the program, which is designed to improve technical skills, create jobs, and boost entrepreneurship among artisans. The Director General and Chief Executive Officer of ITF, Dr. Aviz Ogun, disclosed these in Abuja during the training and screening of applicants for the program. Ogun said the nationwide screening exercise marked the first phase of the 2026 Super Initiative and was aimed at ensuring that only genuine artisans benefit from the intervention. He explained that applicants would undergo document verification and practical skills assessments before being selected. The Director General and Chief Executive Officer of ITF, Dr. Aviz Ogun, disclosed these on Wednesday in Abuja during the screening of applicants for the program. Ogun said the nationwide screening exercise marked the first phase of the 2026 Super Initiative and was aimed at ensuring that only genuine artisans benefit from the intervention. He explained that applicants would undergo document verification and practical skill assessments before being selected. Ogun State Governor Prince Dakwa Abiodun has inaugurated 6 new permanent secretaries into the state civil service to further build a more efficient and effective service delivery for the socio-economic development of the state. Governor Abiodun stated these during the inauguration of the permanent secretaries held at Governor's Office, Okimoson, Abeokuta. Governor's Office correspondent Yusuf Ganiyu reports.
In his quest to be creating a public service that future generations will proudly inherit, Governor Dakwa Abiodun sworn in 6 permanent secretaries into the state civil service.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
While congratulating the newly permanent secretaries for their appointment, the governor said the elevation is neither accidental nor ceremonial, saying it is a combination of years of discipline, competence, integrity, diligence, and devotion to public service. Abiodun notes that the appointment further validates one of the reforms of his administration and executive leadership development pipeline program.
This ceremony transcends the administration of oaths. It renews our covenant with the people of Ogun State that governance shall continue to be anchored on competence, accountability, professionalism, continuity, and institutional excellence. Every new permanent secretary strengthens the link between policy formulation and implementation, government aspirations and citizens' expectations, and our collective vision for sustainable progress.
The governor also stressed that his administration remains steadfast in building a public service that is innovative, responsive, and equipped to meet the demands of a rapidly changing world, guided by the Building Our Future Together agenda. He urged the appointees to let their tenure be remembered not only for themselves, but also for the fairness, courage, compassion, and vision for the administration.
No government can rise above the quality of its public service, and no society can attain lasting development without strong and effective institutions. Today also offers us the opportunity to reflect on this remarkable legacy bequeathed by the pioneers and distinguished veterans of the Ogun State Public Service.
Some of the appointed permanent secretaries appreciate the governor and promise to bring their expertise to bear.
So as a geologist, wherever I'm posted, with all I've sworn into, I'm going to bring in my expertise to move Ogun State forward.
It is not because of popularity, but because of dedication, integrity, and transparency in the civil service. And I pray that the Ogun State will continue to move forward in the name of Jesus.
The 6 permanent secretaries are Dr. Solomon Oluseyi Shokunbi, Abiodun Akiwumi, Adedeji Shoumi, Olumide Ogunbo, Dolamu Idowu Agida, and Town Planner Musinot Ayodele. Yusuf Ganiyo, OGTV News.
Ogun State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, has commenced monitoring of the ongoing third-term examination in public primary schools across the Ijebu-Remo axis. The monitoring exercise is aimed at assessing the conduct of the examinations, the preparedness of schools, and adherence to approved examination procedures. Olaide Oloyeshuluade reports.
The third-term examinations in public primary schools across Ogun State mark the end of the 2025-2026 academic session. They are designed to assess pupils' academic performance, evaluate the effectiveness of classroom teaching, and determine the readiness for promotion to the next class. As part of its quality assurance responsibilities, officials of the Ogun State Universal Basic Education Board visited selected schools along the Remo-Ijebu-Ode axis to monitor the conduct of the examinations. Speaking during the monitoring exercise, the chairman of Ogun SUBEB, Evangelist Olalekon Ifede, said the board remains committed to providing every child with access to quality basic education through effective supervision and continuous assessment.
I've been able to see what we are out to see. That is to make sure that all the students are in the schools for the exam, the papers are enough, the contents of the exams are okay for them to read and understand. And that's exactly what we have seen.
The chairman explained that routine monitoring helps maintain uniform standards across public primary schools, while identifying areas requiring intervention to improve teaching and learning.
We have asked the teachers, they have to work on the students that are not in the school presently, because they will want to be promoted. If they should try and do their best to know why they are not in the school. And I've given them that assignment, that before the end of today, they should know the reason why some of the students are not in the school.
Head teachers in the visited schools described the monitoring exercise as encouraging, noting that it strengthens accountability and motivates both teachers and pupils to uphold high academic standards.
Very, very impressive. At least before the enrollment is 190, 195, but now we are up to 250. And the learners are performing excellently.
The board reaffirmed its resolve to sustain regular supervision and collaborate with stakeholders to improve learning outcomes and strengthen confidence in Ogun State's public primary education system. Olaide Oloyeshuluade, OGTV News.
And still talking education, Ogun State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, has recommended the use of technology to all state ministries of education in the Federation, examination bodies, schools and education stakeholders to carry out their activities for faster and efficient results. Professor Arigbabu made this appeal during an inspection to the Collation Center of the just concluded West African examination, joining other states to take a cue from Ogun State Ministry of Education that had consistently carried out its programs with the usage of digital innovation. The Commissioner disclosed that learners who had just sat for the just concluded Basic Education Certificate examination and learners currently writing promotion examination would have 50% of their objective answer sheets marked with artificial intelligence as a practical step to do away with human manipulation and ensure the credibility of the certificates and results.
The state education revitalization agenda of this administration, which actually covers all the 6 pillars of curriculum, skill management, technology and innovation, infrastructure, revenue and funding, and teachers and students' welfare. We have taken all the boxes, and you see that it's a package. And this has gone to also influence what happens in our schools. And with the digital platform for education revitalization, a platform that we use, and the successful implementation of the learner identification number. Truancy has reduced in school. Cutting of classes have reduced. Teachers are able to monitor what the learners are doing in the school.
He said the accolades received from the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, and commendations from other respected education stakeholders were testaments confirming the commitment and investment of the Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, towards repositioning the entire education sector in the state. In their remarks, the principals of African Church Grammar School, Junior and Senior Itaiko, Dr. Olusheyi Kushimo and Mrs. Adekunte, commended the government for the inclusion of learners and teachers' welfare. Schools monitored included African Church Grammar School, Itaiko, Gateway Secondary School, Itayalode, and Anglican High School, Ibara, all in Abeokuta. The federal government has expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the ongoing National Examinations Council school-based senior school certificate examination. It described the computer-based test format as a major milestone in efforts to eliminate examination malpractice and improve the quality of secondary education across the country. The Minister of Education, the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suweiba Ahmed, stated this after monitoring the examination at Redeemer's Tape International School, Garki 2, and Anglican Girls Grammar School, Gudu, Abuja. Professor Ahmed said the monitoring exercise showed that candidates had embraced the CPT format, with most students describing it as easier to use and more convenient than the traditional paper-based examination. The minister disclosed that interactions with candidates indicated overwhelming support for the CBT format, with only one student expressing equal preference for both the computer-based and paper-based systems. She explained that one of the major advantages of CBT is its ability to significantly reduce examination malpractice through the randomization of questions. According to the minister, the federal government remains committed to expanding CBT examinations nationwide, but will only implement a full transition after putting the necessary infrastructure in place to ensure no candidate is disadvantaged. And away from education now, the Ogun State government, in collaboration with the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, under the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone, SAPZ program, has flagged off another round of input distribution for farmers in 4 local government areas of the state. The inputs distributed to 2,740 members included fertilizers, agrochemicals, cassava stems, and others. Taiwo Fabajo reports.
Backbone of any nation, Without food, there is no health. Without food, there is no education. Without food, there is no security. That is why the federal government, Ogun State government, and development partners are distributing another set of farm inputs to cassava farmers in Obafemi Owode, Odo-Ogbolu, Ijebu East, and Yewa North local government areas. The inputs worth 126,000 naira per beneficiary are being enjoyed by 685 farmers from each local government at a subsidized rate. The acting coordinator, alongside the agricultural productivity officer, said the distribution demonstrates the unwavering commitment of the Ogun State government to farming.
The intervention is a strategic investment in the agricultural sector and form part of the broader objective of SAPC program to develop competitive agricultural value chain, stimulate agricultural industrialization, attract private sector investment, create employment opportunities, and improve the socio-economic well-being for our farmers.
The remaining four local governments we are targeting this year are Odeda local government, Ikenne, Ijebu Northeast, and Ijebu East, and Yewa South.
While flagging off the distribution and doing a symbolic presentation, the Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Bolu Owotomo, said the input will provide farm productivity, create prosperity, and enhance food security. He enjoined the farmers to make the best use of the materials.
Their cost of production will be abysmal. It's going to be about just 20 to 30%. So that way their cost of productivity is so low, and definitely that will increase their profitability. We are doing so that we can maintain our lead as the agro-industrial capital of Nigeria, so that there can be adequate raw material to fuel our agro-based industry, and also stimulate job creation, stimulate economic growth, which is in tandem with the objective of His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun.
Beneficiaries thank the state government and development partners for their continuing effort to make farming more lucrative.
We really thank God for the effort that the government have remembered us for good. This is the second time we are coming to Abeokuta from Odo-Ogbolu to come and receive fertilizer input like this.
On behalf of the farmers in Ogun State, we really appreciate the federal governments, the state governments, SAPZ and AFAD for the inputs given to improve our farming. We pray that the Almighty God will continue to bless them.
According to the state government, farmers across Ogun State will continue to benefit from such arrangement, including training, empowerment programs, and more input distributions. Taiwo Fabajo, OGTV News.
Still ahead, Senate approves 50 million naira for families of security personnel, teachers killed in oil rescue operations. More news and reports after the break.
Excuse me, ma. This is your 100% Nigeria. Babes, are you sure you want to spend this much on hair? Since your landlord just increased rent, I saved for this one separately on money points. No, you say you save on money points? Yes. This madam money points here, the array of his charges savings money points I used to have it. The rest of this my sub is this savings money points I used to do it. The salary of this my staff is save as you transact, son.
Jennifer, money points save as you transact. Money points fixed savings and money point target savings.
Madam, why did I tell her not to contribute to it? Why should I? Come on, you go give your money to Adaku to save. You see money points accounts there. You don't go open a savings account. Now Adaku you shoot. I beg everybody inside this my saloon. Oh, you bring out your phone and download the money points app now. Even you. What are you waiting for? Download the money points app now. Adaku, wow, money points account.
Money point made for your progress.
You are still watching the OGTV Comprehensive News. Former Governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, has been described as an accomplished journalist, visionary leader, and elder statesman whose enduring legacy continues to shape the development of Ogun State and inspire generations of Nigerians. The commendation came from eminent personalities who visited Chief Oshoba's residence in Abeokuta to celebrate his 87th birthday. The elder statesman served as governor of Ogun State at two different periods in Nigeria's democratic history. Thanksgiving and celebration as family members, friends, and political leaders gather at the residence of former governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, to celebrate his 87th birthday. The event brings together clerics, political leaders, and government functionaries to offer prayers, praise, and thanksgiving to Almighty God for His grace and faithfulness in the life of the elder statesman. In a sermon, the vicar of St. Michael's Anglican Church, Agoba, Venerable Isaiah Olayemi, appreciates God for granting the elder statesman the privilege of celebrating another milestone and prays for more years in good health and strength. Also speaking, the chief imam of the Oba Muslim community, Imam Ali Moruf, describes Chief Oshoba as a living legend whose remarkable life and service continue to inspire generations, while praying for greater wisdom and divine guidance. Traditional worshippers also participate in the interfaith prayer session, describing Aremo Olusegun Oshoba as a man who maintains a good relationship with God and humanity.
Apart that we are from the same family, he's my brother, he's my blood. Since I know him, he has been a trusted leader. Well, I thank God for the life of Baba Oshoba. He's a good leader in Ogun State.
He's not my biological father, but he has played that role very well in my life. I'm proud of him, and I have no regret ever meeting him or ever having close contact with him.
Dignitaries at the event also offer prayers and pay glowing tributes, extolling Chief Oshoba's immense contributions to journalism, governance, and nation building.
We pray that what he has done, the legacy he has laid, the foundation he has laid, will not be destroyed.
He's not here today, but we are all very happy to gather here to celebrate his birthday. Chief Olusegun Oshoba, the Araba of Yewa land, is more or less one of the living conscience of the democracy we are currently enjoying in Nigeria.
Chief Olusegun Oshoba served as governor of Ogun State during two different periods in Nigeria's political history. He first served from January 1992 to November 1993 and was re-elected in 1999, serving a second term from May 1999 to May 2003. The federal government has urged African countries to adopt a risk-based approach to implementing the Financial Action Task Force's Recommendation 8, warning that excessive regulation of non-profit organizations could undermine humanitarian work while doing little to curb terrorism financing. The call was made in Abuja during the 3rd Africa High-Level Civil Society Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Financing of Terrorism Conference, themed Implementing FATF Recommendation 8 Correctly, Practices, Lessons Learned, and Opportunities for Reform. The conference brought together anti-money laundering experts, government agencies, civil society organizations, and international partners to examine Nigeria's compliance with their standards and explore how its experience could guide other African countries preparing for future mutual evaluations. Representing the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, the director of the Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering, Harry Henry, said Nigeria's experience showed that compliance with global anti-money laundering standards should strengthen institutions without restricting legitimate civil society activities. He explained that the agency's Recommendation 8 requires countries to identify only non-profit organizations genuinely vulnerable to terrorist financing and apply proportionate risk-based measures. He described civil society organizations as indispensable partners in humanitarian intervention, healthcare, education, women's empowerment, assistance to internally displaced persons, and peace building across Africa. The Senate has approved a 50 million naira donation to the families of 5 Nigerians who lost their lives during the rescue operation that freed school children abducted in Oyo State after 56 days in captivity. The resolution followed a proposal by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, during plenary. Senators unanimously endorsed the donation, with each of the 5 bereaved families to receive 10 million naira. Speaking during the session, Akpabio recalled that the Senate had on Tuesday commended President Bola Tinubu and the nation's security agencies for the successful rescue of the abducted pupils and their teachers. He also praised the Chief of Army Staff, the Director General of the Department of State Services, the Inspector General of Police, the Minister of Defense, and President Tinubu for their roles in the operation. According to him, although the rescue mission was successful, it came at a significant cost, with the loss of security personnel and teachers. Akpabio identified the deceased security personnel as Lieutenant F.A. Isaac of the Nigerian Army, Private Silas Musa of the 81 Battalion Nigerian Army, and Sergeant Abena John Jerome of the Nigeria Police Force. He expressed hope that the financial support, through though symbolic, would provide some relief to the bereaved families, while demonstrating the Senate's appreciation for the sacrifices made by the fallen security personnel and teachers. The National Orientation Agency, NOA, has called on all Nigerians to stand against insurgency and other security threats confronting the nation, stressing that the country's diversity remains one of its greatest strengths and must never be allowed to be undermined by criminal elements seeking to sow fear, division, or instability. The call follows the successful rescue of students and teachers who were abducted by suspected terrorists in schools within Owerri local government area of Oyo State after a painstaking intelligence-led security operation. The Director General of the agency, Malam Lanre Saonilu, commended the gallantry, professionalism, and unwavering commitment of the nation's security agencies, describing the operation as another demonstration of what can be achieved through coordinated action, effective intelligence gathering, and the dedication of security personnel working together in the national interest. He particularly praised the month-long operation conducted in the dense forest of the old Oyo National Park, where security operatives, through meticulous planning, intelligence sharing, and interagency collaboration, identified terrorist kingpins, disrupted their logistics networks, neutralized their support structures, and secured the safe release and rescue of the victims without making concessions or paying ransom. According to the NOA Director General, the successful operation sends a clear message that criminal elements cannot outwit a determined nation acting in unity and with purpose. Malam Isa Onilu urged Nigerians to continue supporting the country's security agencies by remaining vigilant, reporting suspicious activities promptly, and refusing to allow ethnic, religious, or political differences to undermine the collective resolve to defeat those who threaten Nigeria's peace and unity. The Director General also paid glowing tribute to the brave men and women of the security services who made the ultimate sacrifice or sustained injuries during the operation, describing their courage, selflessness, and patriotism as a powerful reminder of the immense price many continue to pay to keep Nigeria safe. Justice Joyce Abdulmalik of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has ordered the final forfeiture of more than 40 properties linked to former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami. The Judge Abdulmalik granted the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's application after holding that the respondents failed to rebut their reasonable suspicion that the properties were acquired through unlawful activities. Before delivering the substantive judgment, the judge dismissed several applications, motions, and notices and applications to show cause filed by Mr. Malami, his family members, and some companies linked to the properties, describing them as wanting in merit. She held that the issue before the court was not who owns the property, but how legitimate are the funds used to acquire the properties. According to the judge, the respondents had not dislodged the reasonable suspicion that the property was acquired by unlawful activities. Judge Abdulmalik relied principally on Section 17 of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud-Related Offences Act in granting the final forfeiture order. However, she vacated the interim forfeiture order in respect of some properties. Manufacturers have once again identified the manufacturing sector as the essential engine for economic growth. They noted that the sector remains the most effective pathway for job creation and youth empowerment, while expressing concerns about the persistent operational hurdles that continue to stifle industrial productivity across the country. Matthew Shomi has this special report.
Manufacturing is the heartbeat of a developed economy. Beyond creating jobs, it serves as the backbone of industrial innovation, transforming raw materials into value-added goods that reduce dependence on imports. In Nigeria, however, the sector stands at a crossroads. While the country possesses the potential to rank among the leading manufacturing nations of the world, operators say they are currently grappling with systemic challenges that limit their output, from the cost of energy and logistics to access to foreign exchange. These bottlenecks remain the primary reasons the sector has yet to reach its full capacity.
The major challenge is power, because whatever you want to run, you need electricity. And if care is not taken, electricity will be the lion's share of your cost. So government needs to address this power issue. Government, even if government wants to help, how many places will they go? But if we have an area created as industrial area,
backbone of the economy, they are the backbone of the nation. If you build them very well, you give them all the motivations they need, making them to come back home, use their hands, use their talents, use everything that they have. Of course, this nation will be able to compete very well with its counterpart.
Government is not really creating a conducive environment. What government should do is to build infrastructures, give the environment a clean note. When you see all those industries that are springing up, maybe they have local backing, but they are foreigners.
The call from the industry is a shift from mere talk to action. Manufacturers are now urging the federal government to provide a more enabling environment that reduces the cost of doing business. They argue that when production costs are lowered, the price of goods drops. The economy naturally stimulates growth.
When they support with grants, people get to utilize it. That's if the government monitors it very well. Once they put it to tangible use, of course, the economy will grow. Then our young graduates too, they can be encouraged. We can, for instance, have banking of certificates. You bank your certificate.
Except government sits down with people who have the idea of manufacturing, and then the funding. Is it the Bank of Industries? What are they doing? How many people have they empowered? How many people have they given grants? And who monitors what?
The responsibility does not rest with the government alone. Stakeholders are calling for a concerted effort across the board involving financial institutions, regulatory bodies, and private sector players to align on policy and execution. The message is clear. The manufacturing sector is not just another part of the economy. It is the primary catalyst for Nigeria's future development. As government interventions continue, all eyes are on the implementation phase to see if these bottlenecks can finally be cleared to enable Nigerian factories to thrive. Matthew Shomi, OGTV News.
Business news is next when we return.
Thank you for joining us on Business News.
Nigerians' headline inflation rate edged lower to 15.91% in June 2026 compared to 15.93% recorded in May, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report. The June inflation rate was significantly lower than the 25.29% recorded in June 2025, reflecting a continued moderation in headline price growth on a year-on-year basis. On a month-on-month basis, headline inflation slowed to 1.66% in June, down from 1.75% in May, indicating a slower pace of price increase compared to the previous month. However, food inflation remained elevated, rising to 17.52% year-on-year in June. On a monthly basis, food inflation accelerated to 3.75%, up from 2.9% in May, suggesting renewed pressure on food prices, despite the slight moderation in overall inflation. The Central Bank of Nigeria is targeting to raise 600 billion naira through a Nigerian Treasury bill auction today, Wednesday, July 15, 2026, in what will be the latest primary market issuance under the Apex Bank third quarter 2026 borrowing calendar. The planned action was disclosed in an official tender notice issued by the CBN on behalf of the Debt Management Office in its third quarter NTB issuance calendar. The CBN, on behalf of the Debt Management Office, plans to raise a whopping 5.8 trillion naira across 9 issuance scheduled in 3 months, with July having 3 issuance schedules targeting 2 trillion naira. Moving on, the federal government of Nigeria is returning to the domestic capital market to raise 1.2 trillion naira through the reopening of 3 federal government of Nigerian bond instruments. The announcement, detailed in a Debt Management Office offer circular, maps out the government's plan to auction 400 billion naira across 3 distinct existing tenures. The strategic move comes less than a month after the DMO concluded a similar 1.2 trillion naira bond drive in June, signaling a persistent reliance on local debt to sustain fiscal operations and manage national budget deficits. In addressing how the government plans to manage fiscal pressure through local liquidity, the DMO clarified that choosing to reopen existing bonds rather than launching entirely new securities is an intentional approach to market stabilization. The auction is officially scheduled to take place on 20th of July, with the transaction settlement expected to close on the 22nd of July. The Nigerian equities market rebounded to close higher, snapping its 2-day losing streak as the overall market capitalization advanced by 719 billion naira. The all-share index gains 1,121.33 points, representing a 0.46% growth to close at 242,870.44 points. Accordingly, market capitalization rose to close at 155.85 trillion naira. The upturn was driven by gains recorded in medium and large capitalized stocks. Investors' sentiment remained positive as 24 gainers outpaced 22 losers. Finally, the independent petroleum marketers and energy experts have rejected the Dangote Petroleum Refinery's decision to introduce United States dollar-denominated pricing for petroleum products, warning that the move could worsen foreign exchange pressure and trigger fresh instability in the downstream sector. Stakeholders argue that while the refinery as a private business has the right to make commercial decisions, pricing locally consumed petroleum products in dollars could have wider economic implications. The Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria faulted the development, saying dollar-based fuel transactions could gradually push the country towards a dollarized economy and undermine efforts to stabilize the petroleum markets. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, on its part, urged President Bola Tinubu to urgently intervene and ensure the continuation of the crude for naira arrangement, warning that tying fuel prices to dollar could increase pump price volatility. And now the foreign scene is back to Dominic for the rest of the bulletin. Don't go away.
Many thanks, Okwemi, for the business update. And now to the foreign scene. Sierra Leone has dropped treason charges against former President Ernest Bai Koroma for his alleged role in what authorities called an attempted 2023 coup. Meanwhile, Iran has threatened to block further trading routes in the region as the U.S. launched a fresh wave of strikes on military targets. Oluwatomi